Hey, I'm Jay.
And I'm Ray.
And we're from Bugspray.com. And today we're going to have a discussion about the top 5 pests or insects of early spring. Now, this discussion would be pretty boring if I was just talking here about insects. So we're going to make this a little fun. And how we're going to do that is turning it into a bit of a game. So how does this game work? Well, as you can see, I have a game clock. We have a game clock in football, basketball. So we're going to have a game clock on this discussion. And it's set to 1 minute. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a minute to talk about these insects. And first, we got to identify the insects. Now, I know what they are. Ray does not. I'm going to help her guess by telling her at first where to look on our website. So if you go to our website, if you go to bugspray.com and then click on the big roach or insects, you're going to get to the insect index where there's hundreds of articles. So it's a little bit overwhelming, but we're going to narrow it down for her by telling her the first letter of what this insect is. And we're going to start with the letter C. So this is what's going to happen. She's now in the C section, and I'm going to give her about 15 seconds to guess. I'm going to give her a clue. Once I hit the start on this, she's going to have a clue, and then she's going to choose what insect she thinks we're going to talk about. And then I'm going to use the rest of the time to talk about that pest. Once the time's up, we're going to go to the next pest. So you're in the C section?
Yep.
And your clue is, as I start this, is that this pest has a lucky kind of name associated with it. And lucky when it has 4 leaves, I'll put it that way. And 15 seconds is up. So I was talking about clover mites. 4-leaf clover, right? Good luck.
Oh.
Clover mites are an early spring pest. They are very cold tolerant. They are a massive problem around the home, particularly in the early spring, because they're very strong and they come out looking for food. They need plants. And if there's no plants, they start foraging on a house. They look for mold or algae, and they start, getting around windows and doors and dark sides of the house, eventually getting inside. They're red, and if you mush them, they make a nasty red stain. So clover mites are a huge problem in early spring, and we have the answers for how to get rid of them. And our time is up. So, all right, 1 down. One of the top pests in early spring. Now I want you to go to the letter P.
Ooh, wait. Not on the index. Let's go.
This one's going to be a little tough because I've been trying to think of, this is interesting. Very interesting. I know exactly what clue I'm going to give her, and we're going to see how she knows bugs, because with this clue, you should be able to figure it out if you know, because it's kind of like a nickname.
We shall see.
All right, so you're in the P section?
Yep.
All right, I'm starting the clock. The timer has started, and the clue is book lice.
It's going to be the cystoids. Don't even know how to say it. P-S-O-C-I-D-S.
Yes, it's a socid. Great, good call. So a socid is actually a book louse, and most people see these around windows, around a sink. Obviously, the name book lice is because they like to get into books. They are cellulose or wood driven, and they exist outside in the wild on trees and on plants, woody plants. They get on houses because houses have a lot of wood. Eventually, again, they get inside windows. They like shady areas. Man, you could roll up virtually any window that opens and find them around the windowsill. That's a great place for them. So socids are definitely an early spring pest. They're looking for food, not a lot available, so they get active this time of the year when the temperatures are just beginning to show spring. So good job. You nailed that one. Time is up on the socids, aka book lice. All right, next one is going to be in the S section. You there yet?
Yep.
All right, so the tip for this pest is smelly.
Oh, man. Hey. Or scorpion, smelly. Stink bugs.
There it is. There it is, the stink bugs. So stink bugs are real nasty smelling. If you've never smelled one, you don't want to. All I can tell you is that they rely on that smell to target homes. It has pheromones and a scent that can carry for miles. So once they come to a house to overwinter and use it when it gets cold out, that house is marked and they're going to keep coming back. Normally they roost around soffits and windows, overhangs, gutters, but eventually some get into a home because homes, once they start getting them, will have more and more. And then once they're inside the house, you'll see them flying around lights, randomly appearing in different rooms. I mean, they are a mess during the winter months. Early spring, they're going to try to go back out into the wild, but unfortunately, some of them get into the house. We have the answers for them, as always, and our time is up for stink bugs. Stink bugs are kind of yucky because of their smell. And I don't like smashing them. They're really tricky to deal with when they get, kind of rolled around the house, but our light trap does work really good for them. All right, for this next one, you need to go to the letter A. Let me know when you're there.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to hit the timer here, and game is on. So this pest has in its name one of the continents.
American roaches.
Oh my gosh, American is not a continent.
Asian. Asian ladybug.
There we go. So the Asian ladybug is definitely a real big problem, mostly because they, once again, hang out in groups and use that same kind of smell. Their smell is offensive, not as bad as stink bugs, but once a house has the pheromones and their scent on them, they would just keep attracting the ladybugs over and over. They tend to come to the south side of the house, so southeast, south, southwest, and like stink bugs will overwinter because they're very strong and they live many years. But as we get into the dark or colder winter nights, they get deeper into a house, and then when early spring hits, they try to find warmth. And a lot of times they go in the wrong direction and they come inside. So they become a problem inside the house.
I do have to say there is North and South America. They're too bad.
You were right, and I felt like, okay, well, we could have used that, but I was going to stick to my list because that's what I was prepared for. All right, this next pest is once again back in the C area.
Okay.
So let's go to the C section. And this is going to be our fifth and final of the top 5 early spring pests that we can expect to see. You there?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get time clock going. And the clue for this one is what people like to put on the floor.
Clothes mop.
Clothes?
No.
I guess people like Jonathan like to put the clothes on the floor. But your 15 seconds are up, and actually carpet beetles. So carpeting is what normally goes on the floor. And carpet beetles are closely related to the Asian ladybug. However, they're very solitary. They work off of pheromones. They're very strong. They live several years. And the pheromones have a lot to do with the homes that they target and the areas that they like to live. So they mostly feed on plants and pollen during the summer months and the fall. And then they get onto a house to overwinter. Now, if you keep your windows open in the spring or in the fall, they fly inside because they're not the best at smelling where the food is or landing where the food is. And once they get inside, they get into carpets and on our clothing, and then we start to get damaged because they also eat natural fibers that are in carpet and clothing.
Yeah.
So carpet beetles are a nuisance in that they don't give us a lot to work with at one time. Like ladybugs, you're going to see them all over. But the carpet beetles, you might see 1 or 2, and that means you have 10 or 20. Well, we've gone way over the limit there with the carpet beetles, but I felt like I had to give that little bit of extra information because I let you go longer with your time to guess. So I hope that you've learned something about the top 5 pests to expect this spring or early spring. And no matter what region of the country you're in, all of these will be active and all of these can be controlled. In most cases, it actually starts on the outside of the home. So go to our website at bugspray.com and click on insects, And in that index, you're going to be able to find all of these insects. We're going to have links below the video in the description part, so you can just click on them and get there easily. So I hope that you've enjoyed our presentation today on the top 5 pests of early spring. So until next time, I'm Jay.
And I'm Ray.
And we're from Bugspray.com. That's a wrap. I was going to hit that.
Man, I did that.
What?